doesn't do it. Like, it doesn't pop off at the start, doesn't get that vocal encouragement going, and like lift the team, because they were land monsters at the Origin Series, and I want to see if that can carry through here against EBG. As the Picker fans get underway for the second game here of the Horizon Cup. If you missed the first one, you missed a banger. No doubt about it. DKG taking down SBTC 2-0 in the first game, and the Gragas ban is first off the books.
I'm really interested to see if bans change based on regional preference. Like, Gragas was not touched in the previous series whatsoever, but Gragas is a very flexible pick. It's also something that gets played quite frequently by Team Queso in their Origin Series stint. Looks like they're opting to not ban to begin with, unless they have and we missed it, but are they just opting to not ban anything in this series? Trying to keep as much open as physically possible, it looks like.
Either there is an issue with the ban, or they're sitting there. Judging by their faces, they looked like they were quite happy to let it go, but now I'm seeing the admins maybe talking to the background, there may be an issue. But we'll carry on and see what they go with. Bans that we were possibly considering, and what ones that we've seen against Queso a number of times through the Origin Series, was that you focus on that Rakan ban. You get rid of the Rakan. We just saw how strong it was for, obviously, the SBTC DKG series. It does look like there is an issue with the ban, so that's we'll carry on. But you've got to focus that Rakan ban, and that was something that teams picked up on leading into the Origin Series finals. They didn't really follow it through as much, I would say, when we were actually at the finals, but throughout the monthly qualifiers, that was how teams were beating Queso.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that Queso evolved from the monthly qualifiers to the live finals. Queso are known as, if you ban Andres Kha'Zix, if you ban Acolyte's Camille, if you ban the Zaya Rakan bot lane, if you ban Ruiz's Ahri, right? If those things came through in the monthly qualifiers, Queso looked down and out most of the time. They looked like they couldn't compete. But they evolved from those monthly finals to the live finals, where they expanded their champion pools. Suddenly it wasn't just this team of one-trick ponies. They had a lot more in their kit, and I think that's what caught a lot of the teams by surprise in the lead-up to the Origin Series finals. That Queso had just adapted very quickly, and I think something that Iraqi was going to talk about, I don't know if he got time to touch on it on the desk, but Queso borrowed heavily from Southeast Asian meta, which was putting their Baron lane and mid lane for the first wave, and that nullified most matchups that Acolyte had to go into. And a lot of teams at the Origin Series weren't ready to adapt to that quickly, and that's kind of how I think sort of Queso took that tournament by storm. They just adapted quicker than any other team had. And I think eBRO, this is where the question mark lies. What is their meta like? Like, what are they bringing to Horizon Cup that we haven't seen from the other regions? Are they just gonna go all out and brawl? They're gonna 5v5 you for the scuttler. Are they're gonna throw everything at the wall when competing for these neutral objectives? That is the question marks that I have about eBRO coming into this. You know, I think whilst I think most people are expecting Queso to be the dominant team here, I think it's very difficult for me to call that outright, because I think it's impossible to know what eBRO are offering, because we haven't seen as much of them as we've seen from the likes of Queso and seen from the likes of Tribe and, you know, the teams in Southeast Asia. Yeah, we might get caught off guard here.
Well, something we know about Queso is obviously what they focus on in the game. Now, as much as this is what I like to say to a lot of people, if we know it, you damn well know eBRO know it. Like, as much as like I'd like to think we have this insightful knowledge, generally the teams know a lot more than we do. And the fact is that Team Queso's game plan is generally pretty easy to read. They're gonna focus pressure on the towers. They're gonna go for the Rift Herald. They're probably going to bank it and go use it for the second time out. They're going to ignore the first dragon, maybe get it if they can, and then they'll focus dragon fights and turrets. It is purely objective orientated, and they will bunch for a team fight. They won't really be looking for those split push pick mentality that obviously we just saw from both DKG and SBTC.
We are into the pick and bans. It will be the Gragas followed up again here. Let's see if Team Queso are going to start targeting out maybe pocket picks or sort of favorite picks. They're going to go for the Fiora. She has been, I think, 100% banned in our series so far today. Fiora, very strong side lane split push threat. We've seen what people can do with that champion, so she'll be taken off the board.
Yeah, obviously we just saw the Ziggs being picked up both games. I wouldn't say it was as impactful last time out. I would say something we have seen is a lot of jungle ban focus I expect to see that again as we see the twist. Lee Sin, that's because TF just played it. Lee Sin banned out. There is the Ziggs ban. Okay, so Ziggs remains 100% pick and ban so far. Has generally been banned out for the majority of the games, certainly in the European scene.
And I think the Ziggs, again, as you said, has been... That's the difference between our Chinese and Southeast Asian teams. They're happy to let it open because they think they can maybe deal with it. Clearly, FBTC weren't able to deal with it, as it was one of the key factors for DKG wins both times around. Team Case are not going to take that chance, and they are going to ban it away. Acolyte, or rather, the Camille gets banned away here from eBRO. Heavy targeting from eBRO towards Andre. His Kha'Zix is taken off the board, and his Lee Sin is gone as well. They know who the standout carry on Team Queso is, and they don't want him to get his comfort champion.
And they take away the Galio from Ruiz. It is a champion that he did very, very well and has been focused on, but Ruiz does have a couple more picks to go into that one. The question is, where's that Galio going to be played?
Well, that's the flexibility of it. It denies it from Ruiz, first and foremost, right? So he's not going to get his hands on that big teamfight champion. It can very easily go mid or support though, right? But the Senna left open. Fasting Senna is an option here. But with Galio gone and Gragas gone, who do you pair with it? What is your choice for a Fasting Senna? Now, you can put Senna with Seraphine, for instance. This is something that we did see a lot of the European teams do in the lead-up to the Origin series. But the two big standard carries that you pair with a Fasting Senna bot lane have been taken off the board. Now, this is a bit of a change of pace, though. Ruiz picks up the Twisted Fate, not something that we are used to seeing him play. So that is a change up here for our boys from Team Queso.
Yeah, and you got to remember, these guys have been in Singapore for quite some time, screaming like crazy. All the teams have sort of been out there. The Jarvan the Fourth going to get locked in, potentially the jungle. I do say potentially because we obviously saw it in the top lane a few moments ago, and there is the Renekton, so that confirms Jarvan in the jungle. At the moment, Galio looking like either a mid or a support.
I think that is, well, yeah, but I think also you lose a bit of the impact. Well, I think Galio's going to have to go mid as support, right? I just literally clocked what you said. I thought you said support, but no. I mean, I think mid makes the more sense, especially if you're going to go into a double ranged matchup bot. Now, obviously, there is the engage potential of a Galio, which can be very good if you take an aggressive AD carry. Senna Kai'Sa is an interesting one. Now, Ibu is a very strong Kai'Sa player. He was kind of previously known before as being like a Xayah Kai'Sa 2-trick. But Xayah Kai'Sa is not exactly mega strong, and you're playing support Senna, which I think diminishes the power of this pick a significant amount. Now, that is a very strong anti-melee coming out from Acolyte. You could not ask for a better comp to try and play into, as long as you're not getting CC'd to death. You've got 3 melee champions you can feed off in these teamfights. Xayah Rakan would be a very good roundup to this comp if you want to go for it here for eBRO Gaming.
Obviously, Acolyte played a lot of Darius throughout the Origin Series finals, but the Xayah Rakan is a strong, strong dragon lane. We know what that's all about. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that Kai'Sa Senna.
Agreed, and there is a lot of engaged potential from eBRO Gaming. This is exactly the type of comp we were expecting to see from them. Heavy engaged, looking to kind of take that backline down by storm. I love this. It's a cohesive comp. It has its clear strength. The 5v5 is very, very good from eBRO Gaming. And I think, you know, in a full-on team fight, they're in a very strong spot. They obviously have to be a little wary of Acolyte, who's going to feed off the heavy melee threats. And this is going to be Andre playing his Olaf, too. Interesting. I feel like Andre and Acolyte need to snowball a little bit here for Team Queso's comp to really get off the floor, because I think if you get stuck in 5v5s early on in the game, you have a lot earlier spikes coming out from eBRO. Like, a lot of these champions spike on just 1 item or 2 items. So they have a big, strong area in that mid-game of you know, the Wild Rift, where they are going to dominate these teamfights because they just have the superior teamfight champions. Like, it's so difficult for a Twisted Fate, a Senna, and a Kai'Sa to navigate a Rakan, a Jarvan, a Galio, and a Renekton. Like, how do you navigate that if you're not ahead? And that's my problem with Team Queso here. They need to get ahead for their comp to really take off.
I think that's Kite, just quietly having a moment to himself there. Eyes closed, getting himself prepared for that. And something, you know, we love to point out is the fact that these guys are in a studio. They are there. You know, this is a high-pressure situation. Literally facing off against your opposition. Something we unluckily have not been able to do for the last 2 years, but here we are, the players in Singapore. We're still remote, but it doesn't matter. We get to cover the games, and that's the action It is Wild Rift Esports, ladies and gentlemen, and eBRO Gaming up against Team Queso, the LATAM team up against the Spanish-European lineups. Both teams speak in Spanish, and I expect a little bit of vocals between them. Unfortunately, we can't hear it. Maybe we're going to have to get a drop mic or something in there. I don't know what's going on.
See these guys just gearing up and preparing. It's exciting for Queso as well. They really, I don't think even they expected themselves to get this far. Like, they definitely came into the Origin Series as underdogs. People were expecting Ricks to clean house at that tournament, and I think Queso, you could hear the emotion as they made that win and knew they were heading to the Horizon Cup. This is a game they need to win, though. I want to reiterate that. I think you guys need to have that in your head.
Yeah.
eBRO Gaming are considered the major underdogs in this group. So if Team Queso lose this series, their chances of exiting the group become significantly slimmer. And I think Team Queso realized that. If you're a European fan, you need them to win this. Obviously, if you're a Latin American fan, you're behind eBRO. This is also a team that, you know, a game that you need to win. And eBRO, they're kind of putting a bit of Team Queso's medicine against them. They're committing 2 members to that mid lane first wave push.
Yeah, Group B, this one's from, obviously, Sengoku, Team Secret, and Thunder Talk Gaming from China. The other teams that they will be facing off against. And that's what makes this a must win. With Gold, Carp, and Ruiz putting the pressure on Tix, a lot of pressure on Tix as well. He's going to get a stacked deck there as well, and that is going to really put the pressure down. The exhaust was burned as well, coming out from Tix, so he's going to have to sit very deep on that tower for a moment. Get himself that honey fruit.
I can tell you, the TF Galio level 1 is awful for Galio.
Yeah.
Especially if you pick up your third ability first for TF, you can win by just having pure AD pressure, like pure auto attack pressure, and that's generally how you win that matchup and how you win that very early laning phase. You can see that Easy's just having to come in to kind of provide a bit of pressure for Tix, because Tix struggling versus Ruiz right now, and Ruiz kind of putting a lot of pressure on both of them. 2v1.
I think Andre went for the auto hitting the ability there rather than actually aiming at the champion, because he hit the minion. I'm pretty sure he wanted to hit the Galio instead there. So either way, Scuttle Crab is going to go way down the bottom. That's going to be obviously the top Scuttle Crab for Queso as well. So just trading back and forward. This is what we're talking about. We're wondering, you know, we do often see I was just wondering whether Andre had actually confirmed that. We do often see a couple of these early fights around that Scuttle Crab, but at the moment it's going to be pretty standard. Essus in the roam, as you'd expect. You can see the trade going through as Andre takes the blue himself.
Yeah, they're actually going to do a bit of vertical jungling here. So they're actually splitting the map down the mid lane rather than down the river. And Andre actually going to get a little bit more out of his invade as well. He doesn't have the pressure coming out from Hache to sort of stop him going for this blue side clear. Whereas you saw that Memorize and Ibu, they walked into their own jungle to try and pressure away EZs from the Gromp here. As you can see, Ibu and Memorize going to play this very carefully. You can see Jaffy and Kite were looking for the engage. You can see EZs with his ultimate is hanging around right now. Can Memorize buy enough time though?
Gonna happen, it doesn't look like away. Memorize gonna keep the pressure on and force him away there. So time lost, time delay. Didn't lose out too much from that one, but Andre had gone back to buy in the meantime, so he's gonna be on a quicker wave clear at the moment. Say wave clear, jungle clear path than Essus is.
Yeah, and it's all calmed down a little bit after that crazy little level 1 in the mid lane. You can see that right now Andre just trying to clear camp, trying to farm as much as possible, working towards that Triforce first item. So very heavy kind of damage threat around. We expect Andre to have that kind of role with his team, and obviously 45 seconds until the Rift Herald spawns. We already see Jastly making those roams over. What's really interesting is we've seen a mid lane switch here from Titan Jastly, and Tix has stayed on the bottom side of the map. We know that Tix can do this because as a Galio, you can very quickly respond on the map by just moving up and using your ultimate to cross, clear very big distances. I imagine we'll now see Ruiz head down towards the bot lane and match him, and then do the same thing should a fight break out around the Rift Herald.
A couple of entrances, the Grand and the Heroes, generally going to be stacked up. That's what EBG is going to be all about. But here we go, 10 seconds on the timer. Everybody goes back to Queso. You know what that means. It is time actually for Dragon for them. So they're focusing Dragon around the Rift Herald. This is a switch up to what they've been focusing on throughout the Origin series. Their focus was always on that Rift Herald. But they're looking at the team fight. They're going to try and get onto Jasty there. They're trying to catch him out, but it's not going to be. And now the game has been given away. Queso looking for that early pick to try and set an advantage up, doesn't work out.
Well, it is Infernal Drake, so probably the most important Drake out of any of the four, so I understand why the priority is there. I really love what eBRO are doing, though. Every time Team Queso is positioned to go for the Dragon, they get mid-lane prio. They shove that mid-lane wave in and make it difficult for Queso to make that commit happen. That's a big engage.
That's a great lock-up as well. Isis has to get away. Jastly can't get away. Does get taken down, and that's Queso going to be taking that first Dragon. No doubt about that. It did reset, but they should be able to pick it up without any troubles.
You see Ruiz commits to the bottom side of the map here. Looks like eBRO are trying to kind of lick their wounds and head and create some pressure around the Rift Herald, but it was a beautiful little engage from Team Queso to pick up the kill there. Let's take a look at the Axe replay and have a look at exactly how this went down. Watch and memorize. I think it's just a really great route. Yeah, a really great route on EZ. He catches 3 members and they get pulled in. Once that setup comes through, they land the dunk, and that gets the kill for the first blood for Acolyte. Just a beautiful setup by Memorize there. And unfortunately, they walk straight in and root 3 members of their team. Nothing they could do about it. And now Andre and the rest of Team Queso setting up for another fight around the Rift Herald here, displaying dominance early on into the game as they build up an almost 3,000 gold lead very early.
Big gold leads out this way. I do believe some of them went back to buy as well, straight up to the Dragon, so they may have already put that into items. As Ruiz looks for that gold card, not going to find it. Will take that blue away in the background. Did he actually secure that?
No, Andre got it. Andre stole it.
He did manage to steal it with the axe, yeah.
The undertow over the wall picks it up. That's an engage.
What? They're doing it. They're going in. It's just already backed away. That is a random engage from EBG, if I say so the most. Didn't really expect that. And I don't think Queso did. The gold card will go through, and Queso will just clean this up. That was a very split engage from EBG.
They're going for another fight on Kite. Managed to get the double root off, but that was like watching lemmings, mate. Like one by one, they walk off the cliff.
It was Ezis and was it Hage that was off to the left? I'm looking at Hage is backing. Ezis is off there, and they engage.
And Justly goes to the 3v4 engage here, misses the knockup, gets a charm off to Memorize. But what's this? What's the timing from Andre? Has his ultimate proc, doesn't get knocked up by Pick, can happily stay in the middle of the hero's entrance and take him down. Andre absolutely popping right now on this Olaf. But honestly, you can analyze this whichever way you want. The realistic outcome was that eBRO just went for a 3v4 engage where they completely fluffed the knockup. It was just a poor engage timing coming out from Justly there.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it caught me guessing. I was like, they're going for an engage. I was all getting ready to set that one up and getting ready to go. But you know what? It ain't over yet, because Acolyte now, along with Hage. Now this is because Acolyte's feeling strong at the moment, has got himself in there. Justy tries to come down and help out, but Acolyte is a pretty beastly character himself. They have got identical items, as you can see, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. And that's going to be top turret focus that we see quite often from Queso.
Well, they're just an easy cross map as well. You saw so many resources committed. Hash has to be very careful. I think he's going to get dumped. He'll get dumped, right?
Is he going to be off? I don't think it should be. Not going to really the Dominus running, but that should get him down. Is he going to turn him down? Oh no! The lifesteal and tankiness that he has already. Oh, you hate to see it, Esses. That is an absolute disaster.
Yeah, and now mid lane as well. The TQ happy to take that cross map pressure and get yet another tower out of the engage. eBRO just falling apart right now. Acolyte again, we talked about the strength of the Darius into heavy melee comps. Doesn't matter because we're not seeing team fights, but he's still styling on them 2v1. EZ has not had a good game though. Good dunk onto Hage, takes him out of the fight completely. EZ walks in, dunk. He thinks he's going to get the burst damage out, but Acolyte just too strong. Has that barrier available as well. And that is ridiculous. Now Acolyte in a super strong spot.
The apprehend was just so well timed that now he's in such a confident situation. He can just dunk away on a Renekton. You know, that is the tankiest member on EBG. That is the guy that should be able to stand toe to toe with him. Oh no, Andre with the dunk as well. This is going very quickly away from them. Okay, 2v1. This is got him, I think.
He might actually win this.
Oh my god, he gets the dunk. Oh, I should laugh, but my god, you love to see a 2v1 like that.
Oh my gosh, that was so clean from Acolyte as well. Beautiful stuff from him, and again, he is single-handedly creating enough map pressure to allow his team to do whatever they want on the other side of the map. Acolyte himself has been the sole reason that towers have dropped in both mid and top, and also these dragons have gone down without any contest from eBRO. And look, eBRO definitely came in as underdogs. They're now 10k gold behind at 9 minutes of the game. Team Queso on a surefire track to win this. But if you are a European fan, and I think we could just watch this. I don't think I need to analyze this. This is just beautiful stuff. I mean, like, you can see why Darius picked up in these anti-melees, uses the barriers by himself some time, makes the apprehend before he goes for the decimate, by the way. The apprehend basically sets them up so he can walk back and get a beautiful set of healing. You can see these guys just, look at them, they're standing up, they're loving it. This is great stuff from
Well, there it goes, straight for the engagement once again. This is all going Queso's way, but now we can see a couple of kills for eBRO. In comes Acolyte, though. The Danger Man has arrived. Gets himself a great turn on them. H is going to get dunked by 1 and 2. That is an Ola from Andre and the dunk again. Gets himself the double. Kite will back away. But that wasn't that bad a fight for them. A 4 for 3 when they're 10k gold down. That's a win for EBG.
I mean, you definitely take those. You definitely take those. Take a look again at the replay. We can see how this shaped out. I think Team Queso just a little bit overzealous here. I think they think they're stronger than they are. They're going for a 1-3-1, so their team is completely split. And again, you do have to respect the engaged potential of a Jar and Rakan, and that is kind of what was let slip here for Team Queso. They just didn't expect how easy it was for the Jar and Rakan to look for the 5 versus 3 engagements that came through as well. But here we go. Acolyte finally joins the fight. The man at the moment, the guy with all of the gold. And once he's here, able to kind of build back some resources for Team Queso. Justly didn't expect that dunk to be transferred straight over to him, but it happened, and it is still technically a win for Team Queso at the end of the day.
I mean, you know, obviously we're going to look at this. Well, I'll get back to that in a moment, because as it's just going for anything, it looks like EBG just want to fight, and they may well work out to get memorized down. Kai around the backside, though, has Andre on him, and that's a real problem. Andre gets 1, Andre gets 2, looking for a 3rd. Doesn't matter, there's no one else to kill, because they've all gone. Hayes tries to back away, but it is a 4 for 1 for Queso.
This reminds me of one of the memes that we saw during the League of Legends World Championship. When Izez's team is 10k gold down, he fights because he feels they have to. And that is exactly what Izez is doing. Every single time, just forcing the engage, regardless of what the potential outcome could be. He just forces the engage with the Java because he thinks there's no other way that his team can stand a chance here. And realistically, I don't know how much of a chance eBRO have got from this position. They're going to have to recollect for the next game. Team Queso have been dominant from start to finish here. And I'm going to say, you know, I'm going to phrase it like this. Obviously, we knew eBRO were underdogs coming into this, and I don't think, you know, we should pretend otherwise. But if you're a Team Queso fan, you wanted them to have this level of performance.
Yes.
This is what you needed from Team Queso. He says again,
I mean, I don't really know how to break this one down other than the fact that they are likely to get caught out here. Talk comes through. Andre has to actually back away, but now look how low they are. And Ibu is licking his lips, licking his chops, and thinking he can take this one, but he's up against the Zaya. That is a dangerous thing. Does in the end have to get away from that one, but now the gold card will come through, and that will be Jasly and Kite both down. Acolyte's going to get himself another dunk. The stun comes through, but it's only a matter of time until Tix gets dunked on. And that is a ace, and well, not quite the game yet because they are going to go for the barrel.
Yeah, and actually they can't even push down mid to end because there are already members of eBRO Gaming respawning, but it is an easy Baron setup right now for Team Queso. Just as soon as it spawns, they are ready to take it off the map. And we'll take a look back again. And he says, you know, frankly, this is the way they think they have to play the game. We knew that the LATAM region were brawl heavy fighters. We knew that their team fight style would just go in all the time. But it's so beautiful to see it actually happen in person. I know it's not working out for them, but you have to respect a team that doesn't have the fear. Like they know this is the way that they know that they're slowly losing, right? They know that they're slowly losing. So you have to respect a team that can.
But there's always that chance that they might come out on top.
You have to respect the team. They're like, we get the man advantage, right? They think they have the man advantage. They think they can pick off a couple of Team Queso in a 5 versus 3 because they have the superior engage. They think that's their only way back into the game. game. And I'm going to be realistic with you. If they can make it work, it probably would be one of their only avenues back into the game. And I've got to respect a team that just straight up goes for it, like eBRO Gaming do.
So we'll see is now you just turtle up and slowly wither away, which is almost.
Well, you don't scale, right? You don't scale on this team. So there is no turtling here.
I mean, if you were to look back at the game, well, I mean, it just goes in. And actually got, I think, Memorize got a 4-man there on the Zen. I think that was just catching everything they can. They have got Acolyte down. They did manage to take Acolyte down, but Ibu is on cleanup duty. He goes gold. Memorize should come in there. There goes the Olaf onto the fountain. Actually will get caught out as well. They will get the Nexus down in the end, though. And it will be Queso picking themselves up. Game number 1 here, which I think, you know, yes, it's a great win. Yes, it's a confident win for Queso. It's definitely a team that obviously builds on that sort of hyper-confidence plays. But I think, to be brutally honest, we're going to look back at that sort of mid-lane play, that mid-lane engage, that 3v4 that was just completely split, and say that was the moment where EBG kind of let this game slip away.
And I think also, Queso just flexing a little bit. You could feel it in that game. They were just flexing a little bit. But they kind of had to, if I'm honest with you. Like I said, this is a game, if you're an EU fan, they needed to come in to dominate. Everybody kind of expected eBRO Gaming to be the underdogs and the team that was less likely to take the victory here. But I've got to be honest, Queso showed exactly what, as a European fan, I wanted them to show, which is just pure dominance, complete control of the map, never let eBRO Gaming get in. But I mean, all credit to eBRO Gaming. EZ is an absolute no fear, no